Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Here's the Craic podcast. Today we're going to chat about work-life balance, working from home or not to work from home. Aaron's going to take it away here.
Yeah, so the reason we're sort of thinking about this in today's episode is because at the time of recording, Boots has just ordered all administrative staff back into the office 5 days a week. And the most of them employees are not happy about it. Some of the reasons being is because they were hired as hybrid, and and a lot of them actually live quite far away. A lot of them live maybe an hour and a half away from the office, and they were hired and they sort of took the job on the basis that they wouldn't have to commute every day. So I'm just going to, before we discuss it, do you mind if I read a wee article about what's happened, just so we can get a bit of context and then we can do a bit of a
hit us with facts and figures,
deep dive in what we think. So
let's go.
This is from The Guardian. Boots is ordering administrative staff back into the office for 5 days a week from September as it tries to gear up the business before a potential sale or flotation. The CEO said the employees who have been asked to work at least 3 days a week in the group's various bases in Nottingham, Weybridge, Surrey and London should return to full working week, arguing that the office was a much more fun and inspiring place with everyone in attendance. This is him saying, this is directly from the CEO, there is no doubt in my mind that the informal conversations, brief catch-ups and ability to meet in groups in person has been far more effective and better for our unique Boots culture than the enforced formality of remote meetings, James told staff. He said the company would spend the next few months upgrading the IT systems in the offices so that all had access to video conferencing. He said the company would also improve the Wi-Fi, etc., and that affects 39, so almost 4,000 staff members. Okay. So what do you think about that? If you were a Boots, we all work in office-based corporate jobs. If you were employed under the gauze of being in the office 2 to 3 days a week, and then suddenly they were like, no, you have to be in the office 5 days a week, how would you feel?
If I'd base my whole work-life balance around it, I'd be pretty pissed. You know, if I applied for a job that was remote on the basis that I wanted to work remote and had a good setup and a good routine going, and someone went, aha, no, you have to travel in 5 days a week, I'll be pretty annoyed due to a change in circumstances.
Yeah, a bit not to reveal too much, but the company we used to work for, we only went in 2 days, 3 days a week ish. Two days a week, and the rest we worked from home. If they turned around and said you have to be in 5 days a week, I think I would probably be a bit like, that's annoying, but also why?
Yeah,
it didn't really, because I think you'll agree that we didn't really need to be in the office.
No, I think you'll agree with me that we went, and even yourself, you worked at home. You had the experience of working from home 5 days a week, and now you're in an office 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Me and Aaron, the company that we used to work for anyway, went under. So we've obviously changed our jobs very recently. While I was looking at jobs, actually, I was only really looking at hybrid roles, specifically if they were in Belfast or beyond, because obviously we're traveling and stuff, and I had obviously heard you started your new job before I started my new job, and I'm very fortunate that the job that I have is 5 days a week in the office, but I'm also a 10-minute walk away, so it's very handy. I don't really feel like I'm out of, I don't really feel hard done by. But then when I listen to you and you're like, I have to travel an hour up the road every day, I'm like, no.
Well, when I first started, it hit me like a ton of bricks, because as we knew, that we just discussed, that I was only in 2 days a week, and the rest of the week I was working from home.
Yeah, and then bear in mind, me and you were carpooling also.
And we were carpooling, so I was only driving 1 day a week to the office. The other day we were in, I was getting a lift from Ross. But also, I'm now working in South Belfast. I'm from Ballymena. I live in Ballymena, and I was originally taking the motorway, and it would take between an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes to get to my work in the morning, and then about an hour and 10, hour and 20 to get back home again. And that was killing me. Like,
Yeah.
going from being able to, now this makes me sound like a spoiled brat, but being able to roll out of bed at 8:30 and start work for 9, to then going to having to wake up at maybe 6:30 every single day, just so I could get it into the office for 9, and sometimes I wouldn't even make it in for 9. It was really tiring, so it was. But now I'm used to it. I now go back roads. It only takes me about an hour to get into work, which is still quite a long time.
So
But-
if you see Aaron flying at 80 mile an hour over the back
80
roads.
mile an hour over Divis Mountain. But yeah, what do you two think?
Yeah, I just think it's like it's frustrating if like you've agreed in advance like you were hybrid and then they're changing it. So I don't know what way that works in terms of like if there has to be compensation or what, or like they're probably in the rights to argue with it, but then they could
Employment contracts.
they could just be told where to go type of thing.
If
Yeah.
they're reimbursed, I suppose, for their travel that they're going to get, I think it's fair enough for about staff that. Like, it's like this is only a new thing that's sort of come in. Like, you know, like the boots are paying them the money to do work for them. Like, but people are like, I think people take it for granted, like working from home. They think that they're sort of entitled to it. Like, there's a branch of people who do what.
That's really fun. I had this conversation with someone the other day. I was like, if you look back in 4 years,
It's only recently come in, and now people are fucking argue they're hard done by because they're
Yeah.
not getting to work from home. Like,
yeah,
like someone's literally paying you a lot of money to do something for them. Like, the least you could do is come into their workplace. Like,
I think
I don't
that
think
if-
it's a big ask.
I
like.
think if it was contractual,
I get
this
with
is
what
where
you're
me and
saying,
you will
like,
start the clash
yeah.
here. I would say if it's contractual, there's absolutely no hope in hell you should have to go in.
Yeah.
I don't think companies should own you just because they're paying you money.
Yeah.
They're paying you money, but you're also doing work that they need you to do. It's a mutual contribution.
But do you think it's fair for them to turn around and be like, right, okay, you're fired, I'll get someone else then?
Well, they could do that.
Because you're not
Well,
fulfilling
no, well,
the
they
job
can't really
role
do
anymore
that if
they
you've
need.
been with them for 2 years, but they could make you redundant for whatever reason. But if it was in their if it was in your contract, they couldn't fire you for that reason. So, they
Yeah.
but I would highly doubt that Bits have that in anyone's contract.
Yeah.
I would say it's very explicit that this is an office-based role.
yeah,
That's what was in our contract,
yeah.
even though we did work from home. That's
Yeah.
what I would imagine it says.
Well,
and then it's also fair enough because if you signed a contract that said it's an office-based role, you had to make sure that if you were called into the office, you had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree that whatever, you signed up for it, but also, yeah, I would be annoyed. I'd be a bit like, that's annoying.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like
I
strike
get
over
that,
it, like, you know
I
what I
get
mean?
that it's annoying, yeah, but see, I think it's difficult now in the modern day for businesses. Like, obviously their roles have changed. What they need now has changed, like their demands, and they're asking people to adopt that. But if people don't want to adapt to that, it's very difficult for that company to go get out. You know, fire people now. Like, it's almost near impossible for like a business to fire someone now. It's got like beyond. I'm not saying like people shouldn't have rights; they shouldn't get fired for no reason. But I do think there's sort of the reason you're employed in the first place was to do a job for that business. Like, that's primarily what
Yeah.
you're there for. Like, and if you're not fulfilling that, like, there's so many like rights and stuff in place to prevent you from actually getting fired and all now. It's near impossible
Yeah.
for a business to fire you, like, and people really play on that. Like, I understand, like, people like they have the benefits and stuff of working from home, and it sort of suits them, and that's why they're there. But I think people who take the piss just need to be. There needs to be an easier way to fucking deal with that sort of thing.
You
Like.
can only get fired within reason, like,
Yeah.
you know, which is fair, but I just think
There's no anymore like, you're not working hard enough for me, look, I'm gonna have to let you go. You
it's
can't
like
do that
in
now. Like,
America, though.
yeah,
Like in America, they could just sack you there on the
Yeah.
spot, like.
you can't do that here. Like,
No.
In America, they could go, I don't like gingers. You're not being hired by here anymore. You know?
Fuck
well, that's
off.
a bit, yeah.
Get your
the
hair out
start.
and fuck off.
We actually have
Yeah.
first-hand accounts of that, but we'll not talk about that. We'll not talk about that.
But like, yeah, it is. If it's agreed, I think it's an awkward one. But then I'd imagine these hirings were probably done around COVID, and it was like,
Yeah.
with like, it's hard to know when you don't know what the contract is. Like,
See, I think it's all down to the contract. If a
Yeah.
majority of these workers have signed a contract which is office based, but they can work hybrid, then I would say there's probably a really grey area of changing someone's employment contract is a bit of a weird. But like, for example, I think I had this conversation with you guys before. My previous job, I worked with someone. They worked in England, and every day they were in the office, they complained about being in the office. and it was 2 days a week. My response to it was, and they actually did, because I just sort of said it. I just went, "Did you not know that before you signed the contract?" They didn't like that. I learned, but like in my head, I was just kind of like, surely you would have known this was she was like, "I hate being in this office. It took me 2 hours to get here this morning. Like, it's an absolute joke. Like, I don't understand why the company can't just like sack this office off and work fully remote," which I would argue, particularly within our professions of marketing, and I'm sure your profession as well, that collaboration, like, people can hide when they work from home under the guise of, well, I'm booked for that period of time. I'm booked up all day. I'm on meetings all day, where in actual fact, you've just went into your calendar and put in focus, and you're focusing on nothing. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, I'm now in
the
an
fortnight
office,
hour.
like, I'm now in an office 5 days a week, and I'm in a privileged position where I work close to where I live close to the office, so I don't have a big commute. I actually drove in this morning. It took me longer to drive in than it did to walk, which is funny.
Did it?
Yes.
Is that just like school traffic?
Yeah.
That's mad.
And but I would say in the past couple of weeks that I've been working there, like, I have had more chance of like collaboration with having access to people in the office and going, "Here, can we have a chat about this? Can we go and maybe discuss this over it?" And we've got things done a lot quicker than we did in my previous job.
It's the best way to learn, I think, as well. I think as well, like, that's one thing I've enjoyed is like early in your career as well. I think, like you said, just being able to like go down to someone's desk and ask a quick question, or like just being in meetings, and even like the social aspect of it. Like, I just think working from home isn't good for anyone. I definitely didn't enjoy it. Like, when I was full time working from home, like, it's just gets a bit miserable. Like I think you need that interaction with people, whether that be hybrid. But then again, like, I don't know, I just think the whole hybrid thing is getting a bit.
What?
It's just like, I don't really think anyone should be entitled to it. Like, I've even heard stories of like people going for job interviews and they find out a job's full time, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I can't do 4 days a week, 5 days a week in an office," and you're like,
"See, gone are the
why'd you
days
apply
now.
for the job?"
Gone are the days now of where people used to move location to get a job.
Yeah,
it's like, "Oh, if this job doesn't come to me, I'm not fucking doing it."
Yeah.
Like, people got very fucking privileged, like.
But like, when you apply for a job, like the job I drive, like, well, I car share, but like when I went for the job, I knew it was like 30-40 minutes away from the house, and I accepted the job. I didn't accept and be like, "Oh, fuck's sake." Do you know what I mean?
But that's when you like weigh up your options. Like, if you're like, for example, we got made redundant, right? And when you're out looking for jobs, like, you're kind of like weighing up your options. So like, I know I seen and I applied for a hybrid role, which I knew was 2 days a week in, I think it was Lisburn, or just outside of Lisburn. And I was kind of weighing that up and going, right, them 2 days a week where I'm traveling, does it make more sense to work closer to home? What does it make more sense? But also, I was taking into consideration exactly what you had said, the whole experience side of things. Like, what am I going to get as a young person? What am I going to get more of? But I was actually like, I was having this conversation with someone a wee while ago, because I was just like, I probably would want to work closer to home if I have to travel into the office. Like, I don't really want to work that far away and have to travel like over an hour every day. And then I actually caught myself on. I was like, how crazy is that like 5 years ago, if you walked into an interview and they went, "And are you okay being in the office 5 days a week?" and you went, "No, you have to travel 45 minutes. They would have looked at you like you were mental.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
People like travel from to Dublin to work every day. Like. Do you know people like there are people that work in my place travel from Dublin to like, Newry, like. Do you know it's a normal thing. Like, it's just, I think people have just become like complacent and like entitled, and like, I understand like every scenario is different. Like, if you've got kids and like you have to be home, or you need to pick the kids up from school or whatever, like everyone has their own reason for wanting things. But then again, it's like going into it. Like, you go into a job, look at the job application, like, don't apply for a job if you don't want it. Like, don't apply for a job and then expect them to bend over backwards just because like they don't give a fuck, like, and that they shouldn't have to.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
A little bit of a counter argument to that, and I think it's the reason why people who are looking for jobs actually can be a little bit more picky, is that there are more jobs than there is people to fill them currently in the UK. So there's actually not enough workers in the UK right now. If it was the other way around, I think people can't be picky, basically. But I think if you have the choice of 4 to 5 jobs. I don't think there'd be necessarily anything wrong with going to maybe one of them that you might like, but you don't really want to do full time in the office. To go, look, I'm only coming on if I can do hybrid working, and if they say no, right, well, fuck off and go to the other job, which does.
Yeah, it's a perk. Like it's like having a company car. Jobs don't need to give you a company car, but fuck, if one of them's off and one of them isn't, fuck, that'd be nice. Like,
can I throw a grenade into the middle of the table?
Oh wow!
Statistics time.
I'll get your grenade.
The ONS, which is the Office of National Statistics in the UK, that is the governmental organisation that does statistics, did a survey and released only a couple of months ago, at the end of 2023 in December, that businesses that did it was actually in 2021 they actually did this survey. I do apologise. The businesses that adopted hybrid working increased productivity by 48%.
Is that coming from full time to hybrid, or completely from home to hybrid?
Let me just double check it. Actually, no. It's actually it's when people work from home, productivity goes up 48%. So it's actually not hybrid. It's when people work from home, productivity goes up by almost 50%.
Wow. It's the same reason we have.
Who's measuring this?
Yeah.
The Office of National Statistics.
Really though, like, does it? Can anybody genuinely say they're more productive at home?
But I think.
But they're not. They're not going in and measuring the chats you've had to your colleague. Here, how do you do this? Like, that's not. But they're
recorded
anywhere.
So your argument against the statistics is, I say they're not true.
But no, I'm saying like
that's not an argument against the statistics.
They can record the production or like the amount of productivity that's happening at home based on the amount of paperwork and shit that's done.
This came from businesses.
But the people on day to day, what they're like, what people are speaking to each other in the office, you can't record that. Like what people are learning from each other.
But that's not what what productivity of a business is.
Yeah, but then further down the line, those people will be more in tune with what's going on with it around them, and then it will therefore become productivity.
Me and Tom were just looking at each other going, there's a rise. But this is what the podcast is all about.
Like, yeah, what is
we need to debate.
No, like you need to factor in like personal development as well, and like like you're reaping the rewards of that further down the line, like
by more than 50%.
Quality over quantity.
So do you think over time that will go down by 48.3%?
I just can't see how that's.
And even if it only goes down by 48.3%, then it's neutral.
Yeah,
it's not even worse. It's neutral. So it has to go down by quite a bit.
Within context as well, like I do think like not everyone responds best to like I would agree that there's probably people that work better from home, but on the flip side of that, there's probably people that work better in an office. Like, do you know what I mean?
See, there's multiple sides to this, because like you have people who, because they have a good work-life balance, will be happier in work, therefore more productive at home. However, then I agree with you, younger people getting the experience, getting stuck in and getting stuff done, probably better in an office environment. I would also say when you're working from home, you don't have the face-to-face conversations that are probably quite valuable to have. But then whenever I was working from home, like, I just always phoned someone if I had a question, similar to walking up to a desk. But there was that's based on the fact that you would work in an organisation where everybody would be green ticked when they were actually free and not marked as busy when they weren't. But we'll move on from that.
What do you think?
But then I also would argue the amount of times I was in the office and distracted, not looking at anybody in particular, Aaron, the amount of times I was distracted, like our office was an absolute, like our office in our old work was very much a distraction in some cases. Like we started rating mince pies. Do you know what I mean?
That would never happen in
I will say that if I wanted if I got an edit out quicker when I was working from home than I would have in the office.
I've got an argument though.
Oh.
The people who work from home work more hours.
See, that's it.
I
did.
That's how I'd see it.
Yeah.
Because even on my job, like I'd be in the office, but like I would come home
at
like
5.
a lot of, like most afternoons, and do a wee bit sometimes to work. Like, do you know? And it's because it's just the nature of the job I can, and like marketing and stuff. But like, I just think you need the people. You don't like the productivity thing. Like you think of yourself, Aaron. Like you're driving to Belfast, say like an hour or whatever in the car. You're getting up at 7 o'clock. Say leaving the house at 8. You're in work for 9. You're finishing at 5. You're getting in the car driving an hour. Like that's 2 hours you could have been sitting on your laptop editing videos. Like so, like that's your productivity going up. But are people factoring in the hours? And then your lunch. Like even when I'd work from home, like. You're getting your lunch. If you want a coffee, you go buy the kettle, sit at your desk, drink it.
Yeah.
If you're having your lunch, sometimes I'll just like fucking eat it at my desk, cover a quick wrap or something. Whereas in work, you're like I'll have my break, go like have like half an hour, sit down, talk to people. But then that's it, the social side of it. Like on my lunch, I go and chat with ones and work, and like everyone has lunch together and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas you're at home, you're like stick on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Per year, if I work every week, which I don't, but that's just for talk's sake, I do work every week. If I commuted to work 5 days a week, every week for the next year, I would spend 27 full days traveling.
For a year?
Every year. So almost
What?
a month of my entire
Is that an
life.
hour and a half or 3 hours a day?
That's considered, that is
2 hours.
oh, that's 2.5 hours driving a day, so that's an hour and a quarter
mental.
each way. That's
Holy moly!
650 hours a year.
Sure,
A month in a
That's
year.
mental.
sure. In 2 weeks, that'll be a day of driving.
That's what I do now.
That's
So almost
I actually never thought of it.
almost
Holy
a
moly,
month.
Yeah.
Almost a month every single year of my entire life is me sitting in fucking traffic on the Lisburn
I
Road.
suppose when you put it like that, hey, everybody's
And
Yeah,
able
like,
to
well,
work
if
from
you're
home.
sitting at like, say you finish work at 5 o'clock, if you're sitting
Mhm.
at home working from home and it's 4:45 or 4:45 and you need to finish something off and you know it's going to take half an hour, you'll just do it. Whereas if
Yeah.
you're at work and you're like, you say your car share or like your office closes at 5, you're gone. Like.
Yeah.
That's one thing. My office actually does close at 5. I don't have the ability to actually stay later than 5. I have to leave at 5.
Yeah.
That's not an option.
Right. So
I go
on there.
So I can't even work a little bit later if I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
once I leave the office, that's me. Like if I'm working from the office and once I leave the office, that's me clocked out.
See,
Yeah.
I would definitely argue. I've had this conversation with Aaron recently, purely from the perspective that we worked together in the same job for a while. I would say now my life is more structured. I don't take work home with me. Like as I say, like I work in an office now. When I was hybrid, like 3 days a week, we worked from home, and I would say 9 times out of 10, you probably would have caught me working at like 7 o'clock at night. I would have maybe wrapped up at 4:30, went to run, and came back, got a shower, and then worked on into the night.
And it's easier to be like, oh, I'll finish that off.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's like
Yeah.
you'll get stuff done.
Yeah.
I'll
I think
ask
one
you
of the
quick-
thing too, whenever I was working from home the odd time, I nearly felt like, fuck, if I was in work, I would have got more done. And then you're like, there's like a guilt sets in. It's like, fuck, I'll do another half hour, I'll do another hour, like at the end of the day
Yeah.
to make up for that.
Yeah,
So I found myself nearly working later whenever if I was working from home as well.
let's ask. I'm going to go around the table. Ask this question. If you were to start your own business, regardless of what it is, and you were setting this like the hours, would you do work from home, hybrid? Would you do 4-day work week?
I definitely wouldn't do full-time working from home. When I
Yeah.
did that,
Yeah.
it was hell on earth.
Yeah.
And I do think you need to have people in the office at some point.
Yeah.
What would
know
you
what I
do?
mean?
Let's start with you.
Well, my business would it's obvious what my business would be.
It doesn't matter what
It's
your business
production house. Well, I mean, if it was McDonald's, everyone would have to come in every day. But
Right.
if it would be a production house, and a lot of that work can be done from home. For example, all of the editors
is.
could do
So
that.
let's say you've a wee production house.
Yeah.
You've 5 employees, and you're doing out the wee contracts. What's the terms?
I'd probably contract them for office based.
Full time?
Yeah.
5 days a week?
Would you?
I would
After
consider.
you
I would
arguing
actually.
about
I would
working
actually.
from home and the productivity.
No, he's playing devil's advocate here.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I also appreciate the nuance of life.
Yeah.
Not everything's black or white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are grey areas, and I would contract them for that, but I would allow working from home. just for a practical point of view, the office can only be so big.
So you'd allow you working from home within reason. Like if someone was like, I need to work from home today, you'd be like, that's grand.
And I would
And
honestly
why-
think about a 4-day week.
Why would you,
Yeah.
just to like finish your part off, why would you, for what reasons would you want everyone to be in the office?
Less of a just in case, so I can tell you what to do and I'll come back in 5 days a week. More of a, if I need somebody in, I don't want there to be that excuse of, well, I'm contracted to be at home today, so no, I'm not coming in. And I'm going, well, there's somebody coming in for a fucking an interview or something, you have to be in. And they're going, nah. You know what I mean? And then there's nothing you can do because they're contracted for it.
Yeah.
I think it's unreasonable, to be fair. I actually do think it's unreasonable to go, I can't come into the office
Yeah.
on these days. You're either working in the office or you're working from home. You're not doing anything else.
Ross?
If there was someone who wasn't, sorry, if there was, sorry,
I thought you finished.
I think a wee bit of humanity has to come into it though as
Yeah,
well.
Definitely.
Now, for bigger companies, this is harder. But for example, you just said I would have maybe 5 employees. If a single mother, right, who was an editor, got hired at my place, I'd be like, just work from home, and then you can go collect the kids from school and go back and work from home, and you can edit while you're at home. You'll have your edit station at home. Just make sure you've got.
But there
your
would have been
quotas
an
and all the rest of it.
expectation to complete the workload.
Exactly.
Yep.
And to be fair, in my type of work, it's really easy to tell if someone's not working. It's not like the civil service
Yeah.
where it's a wee bit harder. In my work, if someone isn't working, there's no videos being made.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really easy to figure it out because I know how long something should take somebody. So it's really easy to police. Not like I would want to be looking over anybody's shoulder or anything. I would like to think I would be able to entrust the people that I would employ to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't always work out, but why did this video take you 4 weeks to produce? You know what I mean? When it only should have took you 2 days. So,
Yeah. Fair
you
enough.
know, that's my thought. Sorry, I rambled on a wee bit there.
No,
but
you're gone. Ross?
I would contract hybrid on the condition that your working from home days were Monday and Friday, and I would expect you to be in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The reason why is because I think, really coming from my perspective of like the project management, marketing management side of things, Monday's normally a prep day. I don't think you really need to be in the office for that. And I also understand the value of people do need to actually work, as in isolate themselves and get on with the job in which they were employed to do. And I would say Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is your day to use that time wisely and collaborate with your employees, get meetings in, get productive, and use Monday and Fridays as a way to prep yourself for the week and wind down for the week, as opposed to a 4-day work week.
Yeah.
That would be my approach.
And I suppose that would, if you made sure that you hired the right people that you knew you could trust, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because
Recruitment's huge,
most people, I believe, most people would not take the piss.
Yeah.
Because this confuses me. I think was it Aoife I was talking to, or maybe someone else said that they are hybrid, but there's no set days. So some days they go in the office and there could be no one there, but they kind of maybe it wasn't Aoife, but
That
someone,
was Livy.
Yeah, Livy, yeah. So basically they were like, oh, I'm hybrid, but there's no set days in the office. So she could go into an office on a Tuesday, no one else could be in, but then she could be working from home at a Wednesday and all her team's in. I think that's freaking mental. That's why I would be saying you're at home Monday and Friday and you're in work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Plan your day accordingly.
Yeah.
Plan your week accordingly.
I think it's insane as well. The her and her workmates sort of work themselves into when they're going in.
Yeah.
For example, say we had that at our last job, we would communicate when we were both going in, and then we'd both go in at the same time. She's contracted to be in the office once a week.
Yeah.
She goes in twice a week because she chooses to, and that's usually a Wednesday and a Friday. That's usually when she goes in. Why a Friday? I don't know, but that's when she wants to go in.
My last job was what you suggested. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh,
Thursday,
yeah.
working,
Yep.
And then Friday, Monday from home.
I think that's perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
Bring it back to me. The I know I said I would contract for the office.
Can we turn off your mic?
I know I said I would contract in the office. I would That's the way I would set it up.
The contracts have
In
already
a
been
sort
signed.
Yeah, I can do what the fuck I want. I
Too
own
late.
the business.
You're in a court case right now.
No, but like,
you are based right
the contract would be like, this is an office-based job, but you can work from home
Yeah.
when under the
Was it,
discretion
yeah,
of
within
management.
reason. Like, yeah,
You know.
like you trust your workforce as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you say, like recruitment's huge. Like, you need to be able to trust the people. You can't like give them an inch to take a mile.
Yeah.
As the
Yeah.
the opposite of, like, most people will be reasonable. Like, I think there was a really cool study done a while ago. Sorry to go off on the tangent, like, but just in terms of like giving people responsibility, and the study was this company, I don't know the name of it, was basically allowed people to take as many holidays as they wanted. There was no cap on holidays, right? They all took on average the same they would have took the allowance, like, so they
Yeah.
all took around 30 days.
Yeah.
Were they not getting paid for the days over? I think,
No,
or
they
was
got
it- did
paid.
they
You
for
can
all
take
of
as many holidays as you want. They all took the same.
On a
Yeah,
technicality, I have that now.
Yeah.
I don't have set holidays.
them? Yeah.
Obviously, I'm entitled to take at the very least whatever the statutory minimum is. But the way it was described to me on my onboarding at my current place was that it's unlimited holidays, but just don't take the piss. That's
Yeah.
basically it. So it's not unlimited, but like it's sort of like there's no set holidays, but don't take the piss.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of now like, fuck, what's not taking the piss? So the way I'm doing it, right, is I'm just keeping a track of my holidays and my team's holidays.
Yeah.
And I'm just making sure everyone doesn't take the piss. So I'm just tracking it to around 20. Is it 28 days you get?
Yeah, 28 days.
28 days. That's what I'm tracking.
But then
it to.
you've got statutory holidays to take into that, so like
They're
all
included
28
in
days,
that?
But if they're yeah,
Yeah, they
Oh,
are.
It's
yeah.
actually only
They are.
it's 11 or 10 bank holidays depending on the year.
yeah.
So you only really
No,
get
there's 7.
8. There was 11 last year. There's
Not bank
10 this year.
holidays. No.
In Northern Ireland though, because we have the 12th and St. Patrick's Day.
No, because the sec, for example, we don't get a couple of bank holidays. So Northern Ireland in general doesn't get the second May Day, so they don't.
Oh, it doesn't count.
No.
Do you know what I noticed
What a
recently?
tangent.
Yeah. Do you know what I noticed recently from changing jobs? When
More
we
cookies.
when we used to work in retail,
Bun by
when we used
Huh?
to
There was 10. You were right.
Yeah, no.
when we used to
sign language across the day.
when we used to work in retail, we had the option to take over Christmas off or not. So we actually had
Yeah.
more holidays to take because we had less, like, it seemed like we had, whereas now the job I'm currently in is like closed like all week over Christmas.
Do you lose
And
holidays for that though?
You lose holidays, yeah.
Yeah, see that's
And I'm
my
like,
kicker
oh,
too. Like,
wow. Like, it's actually like, I went in, obviously started like a couple of weeks and input at like Vegas. We were going to London at the end of May, like input at a whole pile of stuff. And I was like, oh, I have 3.5 days left.
yeah. And they go like, that happened to me.
Yeah.
That year I went to San Francisco for like 3 weeks. I came to Christmas and I had no holidays left.
Yeah.
So I just had to go either unpaid or I actually ended up coming in, not Christmas. Not
Christmas Day.
It was Boxing Day. No, the day after Boxing Day and the day after that, just to get 2 days.
Yeah.
And then back off for New Year's because it was a statutory holiday.
Well, you work 5 days a week and you travel
yeah.
a fair whack.
I'm
What's
on
your
20.
opinion on if you were like going back to Tommy's questions?
Just, yeah.
What?
Do you, like, if you were to start a business, like, what would
I'd have,
your
I think I would contract everyone as full time, half day on a Friday. I think once it gets to Friday, people are just disinterested. Like, there's no point fucking keeping people in all Friday evening. Like, get them out the fuck. Enjoy your weekend. Monday, I'd maybe, like, obviously you're contracted for full hours, but I'd be flexible with that. Keep it in the contract for full hours, but say to people, look, if you want to take the morning off, work from home, like, that's fine, or work on a Monday from home, but any other day of the week you need to be in the office, like, because obviously Monday is not a very productive day, and that's just how it is. Like, there's no change in people. You know, people have been out over the weekend and shit, like. So I would have it as that. And then you definitely
employing a bunch of ravers.
Yeah, sure. Lad, I could sit like doing nothing all weekend and I'd still be fucking tired on a
Yeah.
Monday. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, it is what it is. It's,
And Monday comes round
But
very
then-
quickly.
does Tuesday become your Monday then?
No.
That's what you're dealing with. Like,
No.
it's you need to get people into the flow of things on Monday.
You
like.
have Fridays off 6 months of the year.
I ain't got
What's,
sick.
what's the vibes there, like?
Unreal. Unreal.
That's
That's
how you
I
put
love it. Like, what
Swish.
and like, no, just like on Shay's point on the Friday half day thing, like, sort of wanted when you were saying about the Monday and Friday working from home, the point I was gonna make is like I think you're better just giving the Friday off.
Yeah.
Because like I think if you working from home from a Friday, like it's almost like when you're in the office on the Thursday, it's almost like you're finished.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's almost like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
And then the Friday is like
You go home on Thursday night, have a few wee drinks.
But then does Thursday become your Friday?
Yeah, yeah.
But is that
That's-
a bad thing?
I
Because you
think
sitting
it
on a
depends,
Thursday
like-
being like, fuck, it's near the weekend.
It depends.
I'm just gonna.
Because like I think the thing with the working in the office is you have that authoritarian thing,
Yeah.
if it's the right word.
See, that's my sort of thing with a
Where
half
it's
day on a
like-
Friday. You get people into work, you build up a bit of, they get in to do a bit of work, you chatting to people, it gets them out of bed in the mornings.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
started their day. You're only in for it flies. You're out. I think people would start at the start maybe like, fuck's sake, why don't I just take the full day off? But then you're in for the half day, you're chatting to everyone, and you're home, and you've like basically a full day to go there.
Would you accept a job if they told you we're going to work Monday to Thursday, 7 to 5, or 8:30 to 5:30, or you're getting an extra hours, but you got Friday off? Would you take it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would do that right now.
Yeah.
I would work. So my stepfather, he works an extra 2 hours every day,
Mhm.
and he takes Friday off. So
Yeah.
he starts work at 8, finishes work at 6, and he gets a free Friday.
Oh, so he does 8 hours
He's
then?
still doing the 8-hour days. Well, 7.5 if you include the
Lunch and stuff.
yeah. But he's still doing a full work week. But
yeah.
he's doing it over the course of 4
Yeah,
days.
see, I'd do that.
I don't really agree with that though.
What?
Sort
Right.
of ruins the premise of it. Like
It's not really free.
it's not really 4 days. It's
It's a different thing.
do you know what I mean?
You're
Like,
correct.
I don't
yes.
like that. Like
See, psychologically, I think because you work 4 days a week, night, and then your days are normal hours. I think you're kind of like, would I want that? Because it's
if I
different
really
from
wanted
what.
it, like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I just feel like it's like you're not really getting the benefit of the
Yeah.
4 day. Like it's not
Mhm.
like the whole thing around the 4 day week is like you're more productive, you have more time with your friends and family outside of work, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like you're happier, like so. But then that's sort of the flip side of that. Like,
Yeah. If I was an employer, I would just be working out ways that employees could be happier and more productive.
Big-
And if that
Big
means
breakfast on a Friday morning, half day.
no, like,
Gets everyone
but
in.
I also think
Bit of community.
sometimes companies try too hard
Mm.
to please people.
IFA's
you're not
ones do
gonna
a thing
please
now. I think
everyone.
it's actually a good idea. Every Thursday, they'll buy lunch. So like they like have a vote or whatever, or decide what place they're going to try out in Belfast for lunch this Thursday, and the company buys it every Thursday.
that's good.
So it encourages everyone to come into the office,
Yeah.
and then they're
Yeah.
trying a random thing
Free
this week.
lunch.
You just order it, and they're paying for it. Like you put your order in on like say the Wednesday or whatever.
That's
Mm.
class.
Encouraging people to come
That's
in on it.
cool.
I love
And it's
that
probably
stuff.
I know it's probably a big cost in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
things, but like maybe like what 5-10 quid a head. Like.
Is there any cost in happiness though?
Exactly.
You know what I
Happy
But then
staff, happy life.
yeah, I do think there's trying to keep people too happy. Some people just will
Mm.
not. Some people just can't be happy.
That's
You know what I mean? I think overall the working from home thing is more a productivity, similar with a 4-day work week. Like it's all about productivity and how do you squeeze the most realistically out of your employees. And if that means you allow them to work from home and they, feel better off because they've a bit more of a work-life balance. Like the article I have up here on LinkedIn is like, which I completely disagree with, is this whole idea of like, well, if you work from home, you have more time for side hustles. That to me
You're not working then,
translates to, well, then you're not doing the job that you've
Yeah.
been employed to do. Do you know what I mean?
Very,
That would
like,
be.
pessimistic outlook.
Yeah.
on it. What about me though? What do I want to do?
Oh, what do you want to
Nobody
do?
asked me.
Right, so that's all we have time for here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
Go tell us.
I thought
tell
you
us.
actually said what you wanted.
No, I didn't.
All right.
I do apologize.
I do the 4 day.
Yeah.
Friday off.
Yeah, thanks for that.
But
All right. Well, cheers.
I'd only
I'll catch you next week
I don't-
on the Here's a Crack.
I'd only do meetings on Mondays.
Right.
Only meetings on Mondays.
Right.
Why?
Because you
Meeting Monday.
too many meetings. You fuck about with meetings
But
all week. And you
Monday
get nothing
though,
done.
I get
That's
but Monday.
Because
Do
it's
you
like,
think everyone's coming in on Monday being like,
100% not on Monday.
fucking
No.
meetings,
Tuesdays.
meeting day?
No.
Tuesdays is meeting day.
1 day meetings. only,
Imagine
like.
you
I like
coming
that,
in on
like.
a Monday and having like an idea, and you're like, God, I need to get that like sort of fleshed out a little bit.
No,
oh no, wait, I've got Brenda on a call at 9.
I think the weekend off, you have time to think.
But then you're
A
working.
few ideas come in, and you go in Monday fresh.
Yeah, I do not think one iota about work on the weekends.
Mm.
See, you're
I
not
don't.
not
No,
a
we're not.
valuable
Tommy's
employee.
Tommy's just
Sorry,
always
sorry. When I
disappearing.
look at my contract, I'm
We're not
about,
built
I'm
like
about
me.
employed labour. They start some sort of union.
So you
Where's the
prefer
drive, guys?
Monday meetings?
I think like it's good. Like I have meetings on Mondays, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just think I'd rather just have meetings on a one day because I feel like I'd rather just get the meetings over and done with.
Yeah.
Like,
fair
what's
point.
the plan?
And
this
then you have
week?
the whole week.
Blah blah blah.
See,
work on it now.
Whereas like
Yeah.
like Monday you go in and you're chatting to people, and then Tuesday, like if you just get all that out of the way first thing on the start of the week.
I
and then
suppose
it's
if you
like,
come in
bang.
Monday, nobody knows what they're doing unless you do a meeting. Until if you're doing a meeting Tuesday, like everyone comes in Monday, they're fucking about.
People are almost preparing for meetings on day in a day, like.
You get an extra day.
Do
out
you know
of
what
them,
I
then
mean?
You get the Sunday out of them,
Then it's
basically.
fucking
like.
about.
Tommy's definitely like sitting in some meetings and being like, this could have been an email.
Yeah.
But no, I
That's
do.
definitely
I
90% of meetings.
I do
No.
agree. Like we like.
Like Avering's a meeting.
What
You're
was
like,
our
come on.
last place like?
Come on,
Holy
guys.
moly!
There was meetings about meetings.
Meetings about meetings.
It
Like
was
so,
ridiculous.
we would have went in on the Monday and had like a scene setting meeting to prepare us for meetings for the rest of the week.
Fuck that,
Fuck me,
And
no
you're
wonder
just
it went
like-
under.
You're just like,
Fucking
what is going on?
inception of meetings. like.
It was madness. Like, but some were really productive. Like, but some were not.
Like meetings can't be good, and like
Yeah.
it's just like too many in the week, and you're like,
I think with my line of work, it's nearly the opposite. Sometimes people try and email you for what they want. Well, obviously, like with drawings and
you'd
stuff,
almost
they're
rather just ring me and tell me
It's
what
like-
you want.
just come in and fuck. I'll draw it on a piece of paper, and you tell me as I'm drawing. It's so much handier. Like,
Yeah.
or people try and explain it over email, and you're like, no, just get it
Yeah.
in there.
Guys,
I actually
come
have the opposite problem, right?
Yeah.
So I work with outside clients now. It's not internal. Well, there's also internal meetings, but like a lot of my meetings are external.
Yeah.
And what they'll do is they'll ambush you. They'll ring the work phone, and you're like, "Hello, Aaron from Aaron's company," and they'll be like, "Here, I'm just thinking about all this," and you're like, "Fuck, right, okay," and then you can't go. Can you fuck off for like 5 minutes because they're a paying client? So you have to really like rush about.
That
It's really,
happens
it's
to me too,
really,
yeah.
really stressful.
Yeah.
So it is.
So, what have we got out of this conversation?
Can I give you a couple of stats before we
Hit
wrap
me
up?
with stats before
Yeah,
we
no,
wrap
sure.
up.
This is very interesting.
There's
actually.
people listening to this podcast now currently driving to work going, no,
Yeah, true.
People
Bill.
in
work from home. And we
Yeah.
apologise.
This is a cock tease of a podcast.
Jesus Christ.
Basically, the more money you make, the more likely you are to work at home. So the higher you rise up the ladder, the more likely you are to work from home. If you
It's 'cause you
earn,
do whatever.
It's because OnlyFans are getting paid so much now.
so if you earn up to 20,000, if you earn between 15 and 20,000 pounds, only 29% of people work from home. But if you earn 50 grand or more, 80% of people earning that amount are working from home.
Experience, so
80% of people
Yeah.
earning 50k or more. are
I
working
think
from home.
like experience, like that's back to the point I made at the start. You go in, you learn,
Yep. You learn the
Yeah.
ropes.
and then eventually you'll get to the stage where
I
like,
suppose that makes sense. Like
and
people
then
getting
like you
paid a
think
lot
of
of money,
people
they're
being consultants and stuff, like
they're probably better off being out and about and stuff.
yeah.
I think if you leave school or university at whatever age that is, and you go into the workplace and you're instantly working from home, you don't get to meet anybody, you don't know how to get on with anybody. I think that can be quite dangerous.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
I know I'm flip flopping here like a fucking.
but you're
That's what
playing
happened
devil's
to me.
advocate and some like.
But that was me. Like.
Yeah, you were. I seen how miserable you were.
Mm.
Like whenever I joined that graduate program,
Yeah.
I was shipped a laptop. It was like, here's your password, log on.
Yeah.
I had no meetings the first day. I actually sat at the laptop and went.
Did you have no meetings on your first day?
Yep.
That's an absolute disgrace.
I was like,
No wonder the place went under. I'm gonna
like,
try to get that in one more
what
time.
I was like, what I do here? But as I went in the office and I met people, my experience like went up through the roof.
Man went out for a party before he met anybody.
Yeah.
Bam, bam.
Oh yeah,
I
I met everyone for drinks before I met everyone in the office.
like,
That's
who the
dangerous.
fuck's this guy?
Literally,
He's a
literally.
Literally, people were texting going, who's this?
Into the work group chat.
Yeah.
Why won't this guy leave our table?
He's this grey-haired.
But he
Right.
knew me, so it was alright.
I think we should wrap that up there.
So what is the consensus? You are pro from the office.
I think I'm not against working from home, but I prefer office.
Yep.
4-day week though.
For me personally, I prefer being in the office. I absolutely hate commuting to the office, but once I'm in, I quite like
Yeah.
it.
I prefer being in the office. But if it's commute-wise, if it's over like an hour, I would say a good hybrid working schedule. But it has to be scheduled, not random.
I agree.
Shay?
Being in the office 4.5 days, but be flexible with your employees.
Mm.
Give them a wee bit of
There you go.
leeway.
So the
Employers.
conclusion through all of us is it's good to be in the office, but you need to have some trust.
Yeah.
And the
Fair.
workplace is what you make it, people. So if you're going in today,
Make it a
listen
fun
to this
place.
podcast going, I hate my job. think about changing your job, or also maybe go in with a positive attitude.
So this week's sponsor is Indeed.
This podcast could have single-handedly ruined a couple of careers. Like.
Yeah. Will this podcast be sponsored by NHL? No. But anyway, here, thank you very, very much for listening, and give us some feedback. What do you prefer and why? What's your current work setup, and do you actually enjoy it? And if you have some mad stories about commuting to work, if your commute is more than an hour and 45 minutes, let us know. But yes,
Longest commute wins a prize.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for listening. Until next time, cheerio.